Live from News Channel 8, your News at 10 starts now.
Thank you for joining us online for our Christmas newscast. I'm Tanya Motorzitsky. Brenna Rose has the week off. The holiday season is a time for giving, and one local restaurant is taking that to heart, bringing the community together with a special holiday meal. News Channel 8's Christina Santiago was there and has more on the story.
Dink's Barbecue, a family-owned business in Bartlesville, is spreading holiday cheer in a big way. They made it their mission to serve their community this Christmas season by one warm meal at a time.
It's an easy way to give back. It is. Me and my father own this business here, and we've been here for 42 years, and Bartlesville means everything to us. We've got about 250, 300 pounds of meat roughly. We hope to feed about 750 people, give or take a little bit.
At 11 a.m., Dink's Barbecue opened its doors, welcoming hundreds who lined up for the restaurant's classic holiday meals.
We couldn't do it without our staff. They're very encouraging for us to get this done. So I don't know that I could do it without their participation, and they encourage me to do it. So it's very easy because they step up and really help out.
Local organizations also pitched in, like Get Real Ministries, who provided transportation for those who otherwise couldn't make it.
We're promoting Dink's, the fact that they were having their dinners today, and they let us know what time to start bringing people in and how the flow is going to go. So we take our bus, we pick up people, we bring them to the event, and then they go from there.
Events like this in Bartlesville showcase the heart of the community, people coming together to create moments of joy during the holiday season.
I just want to say thank you for on behalf of all of Bartlesville, thank you for thinking of us.
The act of generosity is a reminder of how the holiday season can bring a community together through goodwill and generosity. News Channel 8, Christina Santiago.
From the Oklahoma Ford Storm Center, your first warning forecast, certified as Tulsa's most accurate weather.
Well, some Christmases we talk about cold weather in Oklahoma. Some in recent memory have been on the warmer side into the low 70s. Today across green country, it was just remarkably normal with temperatures into the mid to upper 40s. That is very normal for this time of year. The only thing that was kind of abnormal, well, we did see a little bit of fog today, and that is going to continue overnight tonight as, again, dense fog with drizzle at times. Temperatures in the mid 40s. We're not worrying about anything in the way of freezing fog, but visibility is going to get lowered overnight tonight. Ahead of tomorrow, around some rain, even a couple weak thunderstorms throughout the day tomorrow. I think almost everybody gets at least a little bit of rainfall, but definitely focuses in our southern and to our southeastern counties throughout the day tomorrow, as well as, again, we're still tracking some lowered visibility through the overnight tonight ahead of that round of precip tomorrow. Okay, so coming up, we'll talk more details on both those, and then mild weather ahead. We'll talk what that means as we look towards New Year's Day. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
Thousands of dollars donated to churches impacted by the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. News Channel 8's Ryan Stockett spoke with some of the recipients on the importance of these donations.
Dr. Ray A. Owens and Dr. Rodney A. Goss shared with me their gratitude for these donations they received from Justice for Greenwood, and they shared with me that these donations serve as a reminder for what happened in 1921.
It's actually, for us, not as much about the gift and the amount of the gift as it is about the fact that this contribution contributes to the ongoing conversation and elevating and amplifying the gross injustice that happened in 1921.
A $21,000 donation to 13 churches and one school that survived the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. Each party getting $1,500 from Justice for Greenwood, a foundation working to revitalize the Greenwood community through education, advocacy, and direct services.
It came right before Christmas and right before the end of our calendar year, so it was a very warm and welcomed contribution.
Dr. Ray A. Owens is the senior pastor at Metropolitan Baptist Church, one of the recipients. Justice for Greenwood says each of the churches they donated to were damaged or destroyed by the Tulsa Race Massacre. Owens says that Metropolitan Baptist Church was one of the churches burnt down.
There were no insurance claims paid out to the Metropolitan Baptist Church. In fact, in 1925, the church filed bankruptcy and closed its doors and had to wait about a year to raise the money to get the second building that they rebuilt after the massacre.
Dr. Rodney A. Goss, the pastor at Morningstar Baptist Church, another recipient of the donation, says the church itself suffered little to no structural damage. However, many members of the church were affected.
Their loved ones and fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers and mothers were affected by the race massacre. So it's an open wound that continues to affect the members of the church.
For the last 4 years, remaining Tulsa Race Massacre survivors have been fighting for reparations. In October, the Oklahoma Supreme Court rejected a request to reconsider its decision to uphold the dismissal of the survivors' lawsuit. The case argued to hold the city of Tulsa accountable for its role in the massacre.
It can be anything from a financial reward, it can be economic, it can be to sow into the future of the communities that were destroyed by the racists and the egregious acts that took place in those communities.
We know that there are people in Tulsa today whose foreparents lost property. There was some real harm and real loss that took place that could be in some way rectified by supporting the descendants of those for whom we know there was a direct loss.
Also receiving part of this donation is the Booker T. Washington High School Boys Basketball Team Booster Club. The high school sheltered Greenwood refugees in the aftermath of the Tulsa Race Massacre. Aside from the Justice for Greenwood donation, the city of Tulsa launched the Beyond Apology Commission, where they're working on providing affordable housing for those in the North Tulsa community. On Lookout Mountain, Ryan Stockett, News Channel 8.
Really, my story is a Christmas story because the whole reason for the season is God sending his son to be in a manger so that I could live a life of freedom.
Remembering the true meaning of Christmas, one Green Country preacher is sharing his story tonight of how he was able to recover from his pain of medicine addiction. Christopher Goyd from Bristow says he did ministry for years and ended up getting addicted to pain pills after an injury. It was a struggle, he says, that eventually led him to prison. But Goyd says that's where he found God. Now completely recovered and newly married, Goyd is working to restart his ministry to help others like him, starting with the release of his new book titled Pill Popping Preacher.
Addiction's no respecter of persons. It doesn't matter where you're at in life or how you were raised. Addiction can attack you and bring you down. And so really, it's given me that heart for the people that are still lost in addiction.
The greatest goal is to just share God's love so that people can just experience and know what that feels like and to give them just a glimmer of hope.
Goyd plans to release his book in February. He and his wife also plan to use their ranch to raise cattle and feed people in the community in need. New tonight, Governor Kevin Stitt is responding to the lawsuit filed by the U.S. Department of Justice against two Greene Country district attorneys. The DOJ claims Matthew Ballard and Carol Iskey have been prosecuting tribal citizens for crimes committed within Indian country reservations. Now, in a statement posted on Facebook, Stitt said, quote, Biden's DOJ would rather let criminals, including drug traffickers and child abusers, go free instead of letting Oklahoma district attorneys prosecute criminals. He adds the McGirt decision continues to cause chaos in my state and are one of the last lines of defense. Governor Stitt says the Oklahoma Phone-Free School Challenge will continue in 2025.
I went to Jinx, I went to Bixby. I've been to a lot of schools around the state that are already accepting that challenge, and they're already going bell to bell, no cell.
Governor Stitt is encouraging students, teachers, and superintendents statewide to offer solutions for managing cell phone use in schools. And he says teachers need to work in the classroom where everyone is paying attention. And according to Stitt, students are giving him positive feedback about his challenge.
If nobody has a cell phone, then they don't feel kind of like the FOMO, like they're missing out on something, and they're able to pay attention to their teachers more. We think learning's going up. We think the bullying goes down.
While there are some lawmakers considering a statewide ban on cell phones in class, Stit says he'd have to look more into that before supporting it, but adds he feels good about how his challenge is going so far. The holidays are a time for being with loved ones and spreading cheer, but emergencies can still happen. News Channel 8's Lauren Henry spoke with the Creek County paramedics tasked with responding to those emergency situations.
It's a lot of the times some people's worst day, so we got to be the best we can for the people on their worst days.
While most people are at home by the Christmas tree, first responders like Kristen Watkins and Hayden Grogan are working 24-hour shifts to keep Creek County residents safe this holiday.
This is our first time back at the station since this morning when we got on at 7 o'clock.
The types of emergencies they've responded to today range, but Watkins shared that they see an uptick in some calls.
Unfortunately, we see a lot of domestic calls on the holidays, everybody getting together, so a lot of family dynamic calls.
Although Grogan and Watkins are spending their holiday inside an ambulance, they know they have an important job to do.
I just want to make an impact on everyone else and make sure that they have the best holiday that they can, even under the circumstances that they're in.
As this holiday season starts to come to a close, Watkins leaves us with an important reminder.
We are just normal people. If you could just keep everybody, first responders and all the essential workers, in your thoughts and prayers during the holiday season, we would greatly appreciate it.
In Creek County, Lauren Henry, News Channel 8.
We had pulled Christmas shift. It was our lucky break. Of course, the lieutenant had work left to do. On his desk was the logbook and paperwork, too.
The Tulsa Fire Department shared their version of the night before Christmas on their Facebook in celebration for this holiday season. Each firefighter got a chance to read some of the classic Christmas tales right before the kiddos headed off to bed last night. A story trending on our website right now, as if holiday travel is not enough. A Delta airline passenger is upset after losing their first class seat to a dog. You can read that full story on our website, KTUL.com.
And coming up today, we're talking about Christmas in the mid-40s, what's going to look like as we head into tomorrow, tracking some fog and some rain. We'll talk details coming up.
Happy 70th anniversary to News Channel 8.
Most air travelers were able to get where they wanted to go in time for Christmas morning, but there are still some lingering issues from yesterday's hiccup. Nearly 40% of American Airlines flights were delayed, according to flight tracking websites FlightAware. That comes out to be about 900 flights. A glitch briefly grounded American's fleet. More than half of all flights out of Dallas-Fort Worth International were delayed, and nearly a third of incoming flights. DFW is America's largest hub. And holiday get-togethers are becoming more stressful for Democrats and Republicans this year, and after the election, that is. That's according to a new survey by Exio's Health Index, which shows more than half of the Democrats say that's the case. Independents are just behind at 60%. 39% of Republicans say the same. But taking out the day's politics, more than 84% of people say their well-being was very good. And at the start of this year, it seemed like the 2020 presidential election would be a repeat of Biden versus Trump. But this election took more twists and turns than a bill on Capitol Hill. Our Washington correspondent Julia Benbrook has a look back at all the surprise politics brought us this year.
It was supposed to be a rematch. Joe Biden, the incumbent, leading Democrats, and Donald Trump, a former president, breaking records with huge primary wins against his Republican challengers. Trump split time between the trail and the courtroom amid a flurry of legal troubles, both civil and criminal. A New York jury found him guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business records, making him the first former president convicted of a felony.
The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
Later in the year, Biden's son Hunter became the first child of a sitting president convicted of felony crimes. Meanwhile, the president, the oldest in American history, faced questions about his ability to serve another term. When the two candidates went head-to-head on the debate stage, Biden's alarming performance led to increased calls for him to drop out of the race.
Dealing with everything we have to do with, look.
Two assassination attempts against Trump shook the campaign trail. The first at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. He appeared at the Republican National Convention just a few days later with his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, and made a short-lived promise to tone down the rhetoric on the trail.
We rise together or we fall apart.
With just about 100 days left, Biden dropped out of the race, and despite calls from some for an abbreviated primary, the party ultimately rallied behind Vice President Kamala Harris. She became the first black woman and first Asian American to lead a major party ticket.
I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
She then selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. Democrats saw a huge surge in fundraising numbers and endorsements. Independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., whom both sides saw as a potential spoiler, dropped out of the race and endorsed the Republican candidate. Former President Jimmy Carter turned 100 right before he cast his ballot for Harris. Polls predicted a tight race, but Trump landed a decisive electoral victory, carrying all 7 battleground states and the popular vote. Harris conceded.
We must accept the results of this election.
And Biden hosted his predecessor and now successor at the White House.
Welcome back.
Republicans won a trifecta. Mike Johnson is expected to serve as House Speaker and John Thune as Senate Majority Leader. After Mitch McConnell, the longest-serving leader in the chamber's history, announced he would not seek that role again. In a stunning reversal, Biden issued a full and unconditional pardon for his son after the election. Trump will be sworn in as the 47th president of the United States on January 20th. In Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook reporting.
From the Oklahoma Ford Storm Center, your first warning forecast, certified as Tulsa's most accurate weather.
Well, highs today across green country into the mid to upper 40s. That is very normal for this time of year. Tulsa's normal high for Christmas Day, well, 49. So we were a few degrees below, mainly thanks to that fog and a little bit of drizzle throughout the day today. But how does that stack up for previous Christmases? The last few have been very similar, very near normal with low to mid 40s, just a few degrees maybe below normal. But there have been several in recent memory. I remember every one of these where you could wear shorts and a t-shirt to Christmas dinner with low 70s. And then, of course, the occasional 40 and 30 kind of baked in there. But again, we were kind of up and down from most of the kind of the mid to late 2010s. And then the last few years, well, we have put it back where it belongs. Now we just need a little bit of snow. All right, maybe next year. All right, okay, so tonight, mid 40s, upper 40s. We're not going to move a whole lot overnight tonight. Fog. Little bit of drizzle. Again, generally the trend will be there's going to be a brief period here overnight tonight where we see visibilities drop pretty significantly to below a mile. So again, we're talking 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock. So any early morning travel tomorrow morning, I know some folks got to go back to work. I know others do some late Christmas dinners and the day after. So again, overnight tonight, early tomorrow morning, dense fog will be possible for most of our area. Now, not everybody in this blue shade is going to see visibilities below a mile, but a good amount of us, I think, could. Okay, also waking up tomorrow morning, a few of these areas, they clump up just enough to maybe become a little bit of a weak shower. That will kind of be the trend through most of the morning tomorrow morning, and then by the afternoon, here comes the main wave of rainfall, mainly for light rain for a lot of us. Down south, a little bit of moderate to heavy rain throughout the early afternoon tomorrow, and then through the mid-afternoon, that's where heavy rain builds in for our southern counties, for Okemah to Okmulgee, over to Eufaula, McAllister, over to Latimer, LaFleur County, Sequoia County over here, again with some moderate to heavy rainfall, maybe a few rumbles of thunder as well. For the Tulsa Metro, mainly just a few waves of light rainfall, and then at times a little bit of moderate rainfall. Through the early evening hours, that will be the trend. And then things are really going to scatter out for us as we head into the late evening hours tomorrow. I think we'll still see some lingering activity, especially down south, late tomorrow. But most of this really gets out of here by 6, 7 o'clock. So again, through the overnight, a little bit of isolated activity. And then tomorrow morning, mainly down to our south and southwest. Before then, for the afternoon, that's where things really spread out for us. And then things are ending from west to east by tomorrow evening for us. Again, highs tomorrow mid to upper 50s, so about 8, 10, 12 degrees above where we were today. We'll see a little bit more sunshine tomorrow, but mainly some pretty thick cloud cover. Again, where that brief period of time there, afternoon, evening tomorrow, is where that chance is going to increase. And in terms of rain totals, again, they're going to be best down to our south and southeast, where in this zone you're looking for an inch, inch and a half, maybe up to 2, whereas here near the Tulsa metro, we'll be talking about maybe up to about a ½ inch. If you live north of I-44, I wouldn't get too excited about big-time rainfall coming up throughout the day tomorrow. All right, there goes that system. Mild air behind that. We may see another weak round come up Saturday. The weekend looks great with mid-60s, and then here comes our next cool front. This is going to bring in northerly winds and cooler air for us as we head into next week, just in time for New Year's Day to arrive here in Green Country. We're going to be back on the cooler side here. Still looks dry, but for the time being, how about that weekend forecast? Mid-60s. Hello, Happy New Year 2025 coming in. Temperatures back near normal. Tanya?
Before you head out for your holiday destination, subscribe to the News Channel 8 YouTube so you can get weather, temperatures, rain percentages, traffic reports on the road and in the skies, plus your current flight status at airports across the country. It's all click away. Go to subscribe now to the News Channel 8 YouTube.
KTUL joins the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum, counting down to the 30th anniversary of the day that changed us forever. Today we remember Ashley Megan Eccles. We honor those who survived and thank those who were changed forever.
As Christmas celebrations took place around the world today, there were also continued calls for peace this holiday season. Reporter Michael Yoshida shows us the festivities and messages delivered in the midst of the attacks this Christmas Day.
In his Christmas Day message delivered at the Vatican, Pope Francis calling for a negotiation to end the war in Ukraine.
May the sound of weapons be silenced in Ukraine.
The 88-year-old pontiff has long called for a peace agreement. His latest plea coming just hours after a massive aerial attack by Russia on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky calling the Christmas Day attack inhumane, a sentiment echoed by some U.S. leaders.
I do think it's inhuman to choose this particular day, but that's not unusual for Vladimir Putin.
As Christmas was celebrated in Bethlehem, the Israel-Hamas war continues as a ceasefire and hostage deal remains elusive. From the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, Pope Francis speaking on the conflict.
May the sound of arms be silenced in the Middle East. In contemplating the crib of Bethlehem, I think of the Christian communities in Israel and Palestine, and particularly to the dear community of Gaza, where the humanitarian situation is extremely grave.
Amid the wars and violence, signs of hope this holiday too. Mass was held at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, France, the first on Christmas Day since its reopening following a devastating fire in 2019. And in London, King Charles using his Christmas message to praise healthcare workers and those who dedicate their lives to helping others.
The degree to which we help one another and draw support from each other, be we people of faith or of none, is a measure of our civilization as nations.
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
This year, the first night of the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah also falls on the same day as Christmas. The national menorah lighting takes place near the White House in Washington, D.C. Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas helped light the national menorah. The 30-foot structure stands in the ellipse overlooking the White House. A menorah was first lit by President Jimmy Carter in 1979 and has been put up every year since. He wished the crowd a happy Hanukkah on behalf of the president. And right now on our website, no Christmas miracles for Mega Millions players. Nobody nabbed the jackpot in the Christmas Eve drawing. Now the prize climbs to over $1 billion. To find out your odds of winning, go visit this story on KTUL.com right now.
Now, the News Channel 8 Sports Desk.
What's going on, everybody? Merry Christmas to you and your family. We are preparing shortly for the Armed Forces Bowl. Sooners taking on Navy down there in Fort Worth. Tomorrow, we will have complete coverage starting from Fort Worth. Press conference with both head coaches ahead of this game with Navy. Looking forward to that. Myself and Colby Daniels down there in Texas will have coverage of the press conference, and then we'll have previews of the matchup with the midshipmen coming up tomorrow night in our evening newscast. Should be a good game. Don't know exactly who's going to be on the team yet, right? We haven't heard anything about portal departures, haven't heard anything about coaching staff changes or who those guys will be. We do know that Ben Arbuckle, the new OC for OU, will at least be taking part in the game day duties. He'll be helping coach the quarterbacks, Kevin Johns, now at Oklahoma State. So we'll hear from both head coaches, both for OU and Navy. Looking forward to that. Colby Daniels and myself, live coverage starting in Fort Worth. In our 5 o'clock show, we'll have that at 5 and at 6, and then the game on Friday at 11 a.m., and we'll have live coverage of that recap as well. So looking forward to getting down there to Fort Worth and covering the final football game of the season of 2024, and then 2025 starts. That season will end up starting right after the new year, so looking forward to that. That's your look at sports. Merry Christmas to you and yours. We'll see you tomorrow in Fort Worth.
The 17th annual Arvest Winterfest is still going on right now, and families can attend from now through January 6th. There's so much for you and your loved ones to enjoy, like ice skating, live music, and the Winterfest train. And a survey of 3,000 people by hostingadvice.com showed what some Oklahomans are considered anti-Christmas films. And now, according to that survey, Oklahomans' second and third favorite anti-Christmas movies were Gremlins and Krampus. However, the film that topped the list at number 1 was The Shining. You can now see the remainder of the top 10 list there on your screen. And the survey also found that the most overplayed Christmas movie was Home Alone. With 26% of Oklahomans in the survey saying they were sick of it.
So what is this movies that people watch at Christmas but aren't Christmas movies?
Yeah, that have like the Christmas like kind of theme.
So then what's your favorite Christmas movie, Tanya?
I was going to say Home Alone.
You're one of the 26%.
I like Home Alone. It's not overplayed.
It's good.
And I like The Grinch.
And Christmas Vacation.
Yeah. And what about yours?
That's it. Christmas Vacation.
Well, thank you for joining us. Merry Christmas. Have a good night.